I'm Nate Russell.
And I'm Drake House.
Welcome to the Tiger Woods Show. Welcome.
Today we'll be discussing The Tiger's Wife by Thea Obrecht.
To start off, the setting of the novel takes place in an unknown Balkan country.
Mr. Strew! Are the Balkans next to Greece?
No stupid spill from the past. And now time for some mere plot summary. The main character, Natalia, receives a call that her grandfather has passed on. She is shocked to find that he had died in a foreign country, especially in his condition. Natalia is the only one that her grandfather has trusted to tell that he has cancer. Natalia then decides to go on a journey to attempt to solve the mystery of his death. Through flashbacks, she recalls the stories that her grandfather had told her and the memories she shares with him. The journey not only helps him coping with the loss, but also makes her discover the magical realism hidden in her grandfather's life. Natalia is fascinated by two specific stories in his life: the Deathless Man and the Tiger. Not only is the Deathless Man capable of yeeting death.
Death had come and gone, swept by and left behind a mirage of life. It was possible, he realized, to find life in death.
The motif of the tiger originates from the grandfather's fascination of Shere Khan in the Jungle Book, and grows when the real tiger wanders into his childhood village.
The narrative perspective gyrates between three different settings.
Which brings us to literary element number 1. Literary element number 1 discusses narrative technique.
The first narrative perspective pans to the grandfather's childhood.
The narrator uses first person to speak as the grandfather during his childhood, and third person to say what is developing around him.
The second narrative perspective shifts to the narrator's childhood and the memories of her grandfather in said childhood.
The third narrative perspective takes place at the end of the Balkan War, as the narrator tries to unravel the mystery of her grandfather's death. And now it's time for today's open letter. Oh look, it's a fun fact. And it reads, "The tiger's wife isn't actually a tiger." Who knew? Strew, that's who.
The novel influences our everyday culture in numerous different ways. The culture of this novel gives us an insight into what it was like in the past during a wartime in our country and what it was like currently in a wartime in a nearly third world country.
This insight of the novel gives us the comparison of our lives to the lives of the characters in the novel. The novel reflects a Balkan country during a time of war.
The Balkan states are poverty-stricken and live in a state of civil unrest. The narrator is constantly battling with curing the ailments of all of the wandering gypsies.
Which means the area is very disease-stricken.
The motif of war not only reflects the culture of this time period, but of the time period when the grandfather was a child.
The grandfather grew up in a poverty-stricken village during World War II. The novel reflects his culture through the numerous stories told through the narrator. It now brings us to literary element number 2.
Magical realism. Magical realism is seen through The Deathless Man and the story of the tiger. The tiger first appears in the Jungle Book, which was given to the grandfather as a child. The tiger, at first, is just a fictitious character, but once an actual tiger escapes from a zoo, it becomes a fascination of the grandfathers. The tiger isn't so much magical as it is more of a mystery. No one knows where it came from and how it seems to be almost immortal, but it becomes even more intriguing when it refuses to eat the wife of an abusive husband and mysteriously disappears along with him. The tiger adds the idea of magical realism as it suggests that superstitions may be real.
Oh, Mr. House, have you read your book yet?
Now!
The Deathless Man appears numerous times in the novel. He, like his name implies, is able to avoid death, and not only can he do this, but he can also predict when other people will die by looking at the bottom of their coffee grinds. He adds the idea of magical realism because, well, he's magic and it's real! Ha ha!